Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new segment of our lecture series. In this segment, we'll talk about health policies and planning in India and global world. In this topic, in this segment, we will cover topics like health policies in India, especially National Health Policy of 2002 and 2017. Then we'll talk about health targets of the Millennium Development Goal and Sustainable Development Goals. Then the process of privatization of healthcare, and then a very important phenomenon that is universal health coverage. So we'll take up all these issues and we'll try to cover all these issues in 5 or 6 lectures in this segment. So today we'll take up health policies, and yes, I have prepared my slides for this. So let us go to those slides. Yes. So today we are going to talk about health policies, and today we are going to cover 5 or 6 sections within this lecture. First of all, the background of health policies in India and Alma Ata Declaration of 1978, then first health policy of 1983, then important health issues of the decades of 1980s and 1990s, and then we'll join the National Health Policy of 2002. So why do we need to talk about the background of health policies in India? Now, this is very important. Important because the first health policy in India was adopted in the year 1983. Now, we know that India became independent in 1947 and India had its constitution in 1950. So, actually, what happened from 1950 to 1983? Sometimes people ask question that why is it that we had our first health policy as late as in the decade of 80s? So there are so many developments in between. Although we were not having any health policy, but we had specific programs related to health and healthcare in between. So we need to talk about those programs, and there were reports of several committees constituted by Government of India. And even before independence, there was one specific committee. So through those committees, reports, and the vertical healthcare program, we'll try to understand the background of the first health policy and then the specific development, especially the Alma Ata Declaration. So now we move to this background of health policies in India. We have discussed in our earlier lecture also, when we were talking about growth of public health in India, lecture 12, about the reports of various committees. The Bhore committee is very important when we talk about the background of health policies and health programs in India. So this Bhore committee, known as the Health Survey and Development Committee, was appointed in 1943 and submitted its report in 1946. 1946 means before independence. It laid emphasis on integration of curative and preventive medicine at all levels. So curative and preventive medicine is something that we have already discussed, we know. So here in this report, it was emphasized that there should be integration of curative and preventive medicine at all possible level. Then it suggests several things. I'm talking about just few things over here so that we can develop some kind of understanding that what kind of health structure developed in India and why. So this committee suggested development of one primary healthcare center manned by 2 doctors, 1 nurse, 4 public health nurse, 4 midwives, 4 trained dyes, 2 sanitary inspector, 2 health assistant, 1 pharmacist, and 15 other class 4 employees for a population of 40,000. That means it talked about primary health center for a population of 40,000 way back in 1940s, and also talked about the secondary health center. It also recommended major changes in medical education, which includes 3-month training in preventive and social medicine to prepare social physicians. That means in 40s, basically keeping in mind the health needs of the population in India, the Bore committee has suggested a specific structure. And after that, several other committees were constituted and they made specific recommendations. If you are interested in going through the recommendations of these committees, you can join lecture 12 on public health in India. So Mudalia committee, Chadda committee, Mukherjee committee, Jungalwala committee were some of those committees. And then we come to the next important thing, that what kind of health programs we were having in between 1950s and before the first health policy. So actually we were having some vertical disease control programs. Now what is this vertical disease control program? This basically, there are specific disease control program which intend to address the control of or eradication of a specific disease. They are not talking about several diseases, or not trying to control the spread of several diseases at the same point of time. Rather, they are intending to address to a specific problem. That is why these are known as a vertical disease control program. So some of these programs, the National Malaria Control Program was launched by Government of India in 1953, and it was converted into National Malaria Eradication Program. So earlier it was a control program, and later it became eradication program in 1958. Then we had the National Leprosy Control Program, launched in 1955. Then to control tuberculosis, National Tuberculosis Control Program has been in operation since 1962. Similarly, we had some programs in 70s, like the National Cancer Control Program was launched in 1975-76. And then National Mental Health Program was started in 1982. And the Kala-Azar Control Program was started in 1990 and 1991. That means we continued to have some kind of vertical disease control program all through these decades. Then very important development took place in the form of Alma Ata Declaration of 1978. All the students of sociology of health, or basically public health, community health, are aware of the importance of the Alma Ata Declaration of 1978. The International Conference on Primary Health Care, held at Alma Ata, USSR in 1978, has conceived the vision of health for all. Now, this Alma Ata Declaration is considered very important, very radical, in the sense that it, for the first time, talked about the target of health for all. That means through health programs, we can aim at achieving the goal of health for all. Since it talked about health for all, this became a very historical declaration. Globally, it was decided that every state must target to achieve the goal of health for all by 2000. Now, a specific time frame is given. The year 2000 is marked by which every state should have achieved the goal of health for all, right? So this Alma Ata Declaration is important because it talked about health for all, and then it provided a specific time frame, that is in 22 years, that is by the turn of the millennium 2000. This declaration has given direction to health policy and planning of national governments all over the world. And this Alma Ata Declaration, which was basically a conference on primary health care. So this conference on primary health care talked about primary health care in a very specific way, very well-defined way, and then it provided a specific goal, and it suggested every nation state to have health policies. So this 1978 Declaration of Alma Ata is very important because it categorically suggested that every nation state should have health policies and should accommodate these goals of achieving the target of health for all by 2000. Now we come to some of the important points of the Declaration of Alma Ata. The international conference expressed the need for urgent action by all governments, all health and development workers, and the world community to protect and promote the health of all the people of the world, hereby makes the following declaration. So it suggested that every national government should have this specific goal, and then it talked about several provisions. I'm not included all those provisions. Anybody interested can go and find out those provisions made in the Alma Ata Declaration. That is available in my book, as well as you can find that in Google also, right? Or you can go to WHO and see those specific points. But I have included few which are very important in the context of discussing the health policies in India. I'm saying here that these points are very important because the national health policies have tried to accommodate to these suggestions or address these guidelines. So I'm talking about few points. The first point here is government have a responsibility for the health of their people. Now we have been talking about this right from the very first lecture, that health is a larger concern of people and the governments have this responsibility to take care of the health needs of people. This Alma-Ata Declaration is categorically talking about this, that the government have a responsibility for the health of their people, which can be fulfilled only by provision of adequate health and social measures. So if we say that the government has this responsibility to take care of the health needs of the people, then how to address this? And for this, it is saying that it needs to address this through health regulations, health guidelines, and social measures. So it is important to talk about the social measures because it is not only prescribing about the health measures, it is also talking about the social measures. Primary health care is the key to attain this target as part of development in the spirit of social justice. And the second important thing is this, that it suggests a way out. And what that way out is, it is basically through primary health care. But we need to understand here this, that primary health care is a very phenomenal initiative started by WHO, and we need to understand the comprehensive meaning of primary health care because it's through primary health care and the spirit of social justice that the target of health for all is sought to be achieved. So what do we understand by primary health care? Yes, I have tried to answer this question very briefly here as per the guidelines of WHO. So primary health care is an essential health care based on practical, scientifically sound, and socially acceptable methods and technology. It is an essential healthcare based on practical, scientifically sound, and socially acceptable methods and technology made universally accessible to individuals and families in the community through their full participation and at a cost that the community and country can afford to maintain at every stage of their development in the spirit of self-reliance and self-determination. So basically, they're talking about practical, achievable, scientific, and socially acceptable methods. Which methods? Which are universally accessible. Accessible to whom? To individuals and families in the community through their full participation. So when we are talking about primary health care, basically these should be accessible and achievable to individuals and families through the community participation and not very costly, rather at a cost that the community and country can afford to maintain. Now, the second point, primary health care is the first level of contact of individuals, the family and community with the national health system. So it is a kind of contact between individuals and families with the national health system. So this point categorically suggests that primary health care is something which is provided by the nation state. So it is it is part of the national health system, and this is going to be the first contact of the individual with the national health system, bringing healthcare as close as possible to where people live and work. And this should come to the neighborhood of people, where do they live, and constitute the first element of continuing health care process. Then this declaration makes further suggestions about primary health care. Now, what are those 5 points that I am going to talk about? These are very specific, we need to remember, because when we will see that in the health policies, somehow we are trying to achieve these objectives at different levels. So primary healthcare reflects and evolves from the economic conditions and socio-cultural and political characteristics of the country and its communities, and is based on the application of the relevant result of social, biomedical, and health services research and public health experience. So when we talk about primary health care, basically we are talking about the social, biomedical, and health services, research, and public health experiences. It's not talking about only medical care, it's talking about the social care, biomedical care, and health services, and all other possible dimensions which are actually defined in public health, which will come further. Then primary healthcare addresses the main health problems in the community, providing promotive, preventive, curative, and rehabilitative services accordingly. So in our earlier lectures, we have talked about the different systems of medicine. We have fair understanding of these promotive, preventive, curative, and rehabilitative systems of medicine or care. And here the declaration says that all these systems are actually part of primary health care. Then it includes at least education concerning prevailing health problems and the methods of preventing and controlling them, promotion of food supply and proper nutrition, an adequate supply of safe water and basic sanitation, maternal and child health care, including family planning, immunization against the major infectious disease, prevention and control of locally endemic disease, appropriate treatment of common disease and injuries, and provision of essential drugs. So this point number 3 actually very extensively talks about the scope of primary health care. So primary health care is not just about providing some kind of first aid kind of thing. Rather, it comprehensively talks about all possible dimensions of human life which affect the health situation or which may result in causation of disease. It talks about promotion of food supply and proper nutrition. It talks about adequate supply of safe water and basic sanitation. Then it talks about maternal and child health care. It talks about family planning, then immunization against the major infectious disease, then prevention and control of locally endemic disease, appropriate treatment of common disease and injuries, and provision of essential drugs. So if a nation is taking care of the primary health care, that means it is addressing to all these issues. And along with all these things, basically education about the prevailing health problems and the methods of preventing and controlling them. All these dimensions are actually coming under primary health care as per the Alma Ata Declaration. Then it involves, in addition to the health sector, all related sectors and aspects of national and community development, in particular agriculture, animal husbandry, food industry, education, housing, public works, communication, and other sectors, and demands the coordinated effort of all those sectors. It further talks about one more point, to realize at local and referral levels on health workers, including physicians, nurses, midwives, auxiliaries, and community workers as applicable, as well as traditional practitioners as needed, suitably trained socially and technical, suitably trained socially and technically to work as a health team and to respond to the expressed health needs of the community. So basically, if we talk about primary health care, then it addresses all necessary components related to healthcare. And the Alma Ata Declaration says that nation states are supposed to have health policies where there should be a reflection of this primary health care, and then they should have the specific target of achieving the goal of health for all by 2000. So this Alma Ata Declaration has actually created a platform, and it has given direction and guidelines to all nation states to have health policies and talk about those objectives. So with this kind of background, India had its first health policy in 1983. And as I'm saying, this 1983 health policy is actually trying to address to the issues raised by the Alma Ata Declaration. Although it has not reflected upon all those guidelines in a proper way. We will not go for a detailed examination of the National Health Policy 1983 because this is not a topic that we are going to address in a specific way, but we are talking about this because we want to cover the whole background or the developments which took place in the decades of 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s when we will address the problem related to the health policy 2002 and 2017. Anyway, what are the important thrust area of the National Health Policy 1983? I've tried to address some of these. The main focus of the National Health Policy adopted in 93 was the formulation of an integrated and comprehensive approach towards future development of health services, appropriately supported by medical education and research with a special emphasis on PSC and related support services. So now this 83 policy is talking about integrated and comprehensive approach. Now you may remember at the beginning of this lecture, we talked about the report of the Gore Committee. Gore Committee had recommended way back in 1946 about integration of the system, and this health policy is also talking about an integrated and comprehensive approach. Then here I have highlighted with a special emphasis on PSC, that is primary health care. So we just talked about the Alma Ata Declaration, which had focused on primary health care. So here in this policy, we are talking about primary health care and support services. Then India is committed to attaining the goal of health for all by the year 2000 AD through the universal provision of comprehensive primary healthcare service. So as it was reflected in the Declaration of Alma Ata, health for all by 2000 AD. So NHP 1983 is also talking about this particular goal. The attainment of this goal requires a thorough overhaul of the existing approaches to the education and training of medical and health personnel and the reorganization of the health services infrastructure. So when we are talking about the overall of the existing approaches, so earlier, as we just talked about, we had the approach of having the vertical disease control programs. So that vertical disease control program actually needs to be overhauled, and a very integrated and comprehensive approach is required. So this NHP 1983 is talking about that comprehensive and integrated approach towards health. Then two other points are mentioned here. These are very important because they talk about several other things. So we need to talk about these things. Furthermore, considering the large variety of inputs into health, it is necessary to secure the complete integration of all plans for health and human development with the overall national socio-economic development process. So here we talk about some kind of coming together of the approach of human development and the national socio-economic development process, especially in the more closely health-related sectors like drugs and pharmaceuticals, agriculture and food production, rural development, education and social welfare, housing, water supply and sanitation, prevention of food adulteration, maintenance of prescribed standard in the manufacture and sale of drugs, and the conservation of the environment. So all these things were supposed to take into consideration in this first health policy. And then in sum, the contours of the national health policy have to be evolved within a fully integrated planning framework which seeks to provide universal comprehensive primary healthcare services relevant to the actual needs and priorities of the community at a cost which the people can afford, ensuring that the planning and implementation of the various health programs is through the organized involvement and participation of the community, adequately utilizing the services being rendered by private voluntary organizations active in health sector. So here we also talk about the cost of healthcare, that should be affordable. And then it also talks about an important thing, that is the role of the voluntary organizations active in health sector. So we can say that this first health policy talks about every possible initiative which could be used, which could be coordinated to achieve the goal of health for all by 2018. So those were the highlights of the health policy of the 1983. Then in 80s and 90s, several other developments also took place, which has influenced the health policies at a later stage. And these are the important health issues. We need to talk about these things also. The 8th plan, 1992-97, identified human development as its main focus, with health and population control listed as 2 of 6 priority objectives. It was emphasized that health facilities must reach the entire population by the end of the 8th plan. So the 8th plan 1992-97 basically identified human development approach. We know that human development approach is a very important paradigm. We have talked about this several times. Sain and Mahbubul Haq talked about this human development approach, and they developed a human development index, which actually talks about three important components, which are life expectancy, which is related to health, then income and education. So basically the coming together of these three things, education, then income and health, as a framework which is known as human development. So in the 90s, we adopted this human development approach. This is very important because it brought health into the core areas of development planning. Before that, we don't find health as one of the core areas of the development planning. The plan also identified people's initiative and participation as a key element. With the enactment of the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1992, Panchayati Raj institutions were revitalized and a process of democratic decentralization ushered in, with similar provisions made for urban local body, municipalities and Nagarpalika. And now it is important to talk about the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment bills, which talked about empowerment of the local governing bodies, the Panchayati Raj institutions and Nagarpalika institutions. And then these local democratic bodies were supposed to incorporate several other provisions, including the health related provision. So it is coming together of the healthcare institutions and the democratic institutions. Then another important development of this decade is the 1993 National Nutrition Policy. We know that in India, the problem of malnutrition is very high. And in 90s, we had the National Nutrition Policy, which is very important when we look at the overall health policy and health status of people. And then another important development was the institutionalization of NACO, that is National AIDS Control Program of 1992. In the 80s, AIDS became a very important problem globally, and it has created health consciousness among people, especially about the communicable disease. So as today we are witnessing the problem of the pandemic of COVID-19, in the late 80s and early 90s, the world has witnessed the pandemic known as AIDS, HIV/AIDS. We talked about these things in our earlier lectures also. So what happened that in 80s and 90s, several important development took place. And then one important thing is this, that in the decade of 90s, actually Indian economy also witnessed some kind of paradigm shift. We witnessed the issues related to a structural transformation. We witnessed the processes of globalization and liberalization and privatization. So the 90s has witnessed several other socio-economic processes also. Politically also, the decade of 90s was very important because we have witnessed several political developments. So all these things are playing very important role in deciding the overall background of the national health policy of 2002. Some of these points I have discussed here. Further, the decade of 1990 is known for several economic and structural reforms, and moving toward liberalization, privatization, and globalization resulted in important shifts even in the health policy. So when we move towards liberalization and privatization and globalization, each and every aspect of our life got affected, including the health related issues also. So several things happened. Three things I have identified here. First, increasing participation of voluntary organizations and private corporations. Second, increasing the quality of care at tertiary level. And third, the user charges even at the public health care centers. So three important development took place because of this LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization in the decade of 90s. Now, what are these three things? First, increasing participation of voluntary organization. It was talked about in the health policy of 1983 also, and then private corporations because of the impact of this LPG. And then the increasing the quality of care at tertiary level. So in the earlier we talked about primary health care. Primary health care is generally providing, primary health care is the first contact point between individual and families and the national health system. So after primary health care, we talk about the secondary health care and the tertiary. The tertiary is basically the referral centers which provide the specialized health services. So here we talk about that because of the problems related to several non-communicable diseases, we do need some kind of specialized health services and healthcare centers. So here there is a focus on quality of care at the tertiary level also. And then because of the increasing cost of care, although we talked about affordability, but within the range of affordability, there is one specific provision related to user charges. So what is this user charges? User charges is this, that when somebody is going to, even if a government hospital and getting the services there, then he or she is supposed to provide some user charge, that is minimum acceptable cost for that. So this is how the user charges got introduced in the public health system also. Further, just at the turn of the century and arrival of the new millennium, the world got a new vision in terms of millennium development goals. So the turn of the millennia witnessed new goals, millennium development goals. Now we need to remember this, that what happened during the turn of the millennia, 2000. We may remember the Alma Ata Declaration. The Alma Ata Declaration talked about health for all by 2000. So now we reached to this 2000, 22 years, the span got completed. So where the world is in terms of achieving the target of health for all, there is a need of making an assessment, and that assessment was made. And then the world has witnessed the LPG. This is liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So the world is actually a changed world. Now, market is witnessing neoliberal changes. The world is witnessing globalization. Despite that, it was realized that the nation states should identify minimum specific goals which needs to be taken care of by the states. And so the Millennium Development Goals came into existence. So this is the comprehensive background under which two important things happened. The Millennium Development Goals came at the turn of the century, that is 2000, and just after that, we had our National Health Policy of 2002. So we will discuss these two developments, the National Health Policy 2002 and the achievements related to health related goals of Millennium Development Goal in next two as next two important topics, and we'll try to address those topics in a separate lecture. So in this lecture, we try to understand the important developments in the domain of health policy and planning in India. We try to understand the different phases through which health policy evolved in India, and now we are ready to address to the problems as identified through the Millennium Development Goal and the National Health Policy. So thank you very much for being with me. And now I'm going to close this lecture. So I stopped sharing. And then I must request and suggest you that if you have not watched some of my previous lectures, you do watch them, especially one which is related to development of public health in India, and second which is related to emergence of sociology of health in India, so that the background should be clear, so that we can get prepared for our next set of lectures. These are very important because these are addressing the problems in the contemporary context. So thank you very much for being with me. If you have any query, do write as a comment. I'll try to address them as soon as possible. Thank you very much for being with me.